when people realize how fast and easy and seamless and the stickiness factor of this thing, I believe it's going to spread like wildfire.
Okay, Brennon, thanks for joining me on this call. Really excited to talk to you and to learn more about DIBZ and what you guys are doing over there. It's a really cool company. For those of you tuning in who haven't heard of DIBZ or Brennon, Brennon's the founder and CEO of DIBZ, and it's pronounced DIBZ. It's a tech startup that does seat upgrades through text messaging, and they've recently partnered with startup accelerators like NBCUniversal Comcast to bring seat upgrades through text to venues everywhere. So Brennon and his company DIBZ are leading that conversation on what the future of seat upgrades look like as fans get back into the stands. And I think that's a really interesting concept there, as you're really doing something in person in a time when that's not super popular, but also moving from that virtual concept of live sports and live things into really bringing people back into the stands, back into those moments. I think that's really exciting. What brought you to that point? What brought you to that idea?
Yeah, I mean, geez, so many things brought me to the idea, but then a lot of things have changed since the pandemic started, and now with the pandemic, it's just I think it's a really weird world we're in right now. But what I always say is that, look, we all know that things are going to adapt and change, getting back to pre-pandemic levels. A lot of those conversations are going to be completely different than the status quo that happened before. So I think we're and I could be biased, but I believe we're perfectly situated to lead those conversations. And what does that look like? How do the fans come back, if they come back? Okay, so we had a business model that in one day completely changed. Okay, so we're building out of London, Ontario, which is just outside Toronto, and in Canada, I guess north of the border, it is we're shut down. There's no sports, there's no concerts, there's nothing, and because we're in this like lockdown, we had an even bigger question: how do we come back? When is it going to come back? But luckily, it was Comcast and some of these bigger entities that said, look, you know what, we're going to double down. We know it's going to come back, and what we're going to do is we're going to invest in technologies and companies that are going to be talking to what that future looks like. And fortunately, we've been blessed that out of 1,000 companies out there, DIBZ was selected to be part of this cohort. And so with their network, their resources, it's just been fantastic, because we're now having those important conversations at a very high level to really take this everywhere.
Absolutely. I think that's exciting. And the network, the opportunity you have to work with a lot of these bigger venues and bigger producing companies that are working with these live sporting events is very cool. I want to talk about the platform really quickly, and it's a text-based platform. So a lot of people are going apps these days. Everyone thinks they need to have an app for every single thing that they potentially could even do on their phones. What made you guys think text messaging was the way to go?
Yeah. Okay. So I think the way you can say this is that, look, we know the app world, right? We know that there's an app for everything out there. And you know what? Fine. But believe it or not, it's actually receding. Okay. There's a lot of people that have too many apps that are useless, or they may just do one thing. And really, do I need this on my phone? Do I really want to have the learning curve of using it? We approached it in a completely different way. We said, look, in the end of the day, when somebody wants to upgrade a seat, it's not about how they get down there, it's how fast they get down there, right? And when so you have to ask yourself a question: what is the fastest way for somebody to move to a bad seat to a good seat? And when we started doing the research, it is text. People are comfortable with it. They easy to use. They really don't have a problem messaging. So what if we did it in that way? And that's really where our IP lies. It's not just a bunch of random texts where there's some robotic conversation that happens. This actually is the most intuitive texting platform out there that just shows you seat map. It tells you good, better, and best. Pick one, A, B, or C. Hey, I want A. I'm going to pay for A. As soon as it's verified on my end, we're going to send you an updated ticket, a newly issued ticket, and then you're going to move up. This is the fastest way, and we're doing it under a minute. So when we started to kind of like address this at the very beginning, it was all about how fast can we do it? Yes, we can do it that fast. And now, because you have a mechanism to do it under a minute that fast, you have a lot of people listening to this, because in the end of the day, they need that conversion now. And if you can do that conversion the fast, in fact, the person that does this conversion the fastest is going to be the king in this space. I like to think that we're on our way to being that king. So yeah, I mean, text, you think of it as archaic and low tech, But believe it or not, in the end of the day, there's a whole segment of the market that just won't even touch an app. They won't go to box office. They'll seat hop. So why not give them something user-friendly that they can use and a user experience that they're going to love? That's what we are.
Absolutely. And I think about events that I've been to, right? Sporting events that I've been to. And it's so easy to see those empty seats where you're like, man, I'm here 10, 20 rows up, but they're empty. You know, why can't we just go down there and use them? Like, I'd be happy to pay the difference, but it's just right there. No one's getting that experience. And I think that's the key there. No one is in the seat to really have that. And the sports venue, the teams that are playing are providing that experience that could be had. And you're really capturing that experience for anyone who might want it. I looked at your site and it says you guys aren't charging any additional fees. It's really just the ticket difference. I mean, that's huge. We live in a world where your delivery is marked up by how many percent just to get it to your door.
Yes.
What made you guys make that decision when everyone else seems to be going service fee model?
I guess when you're a venture-backed company, you have to make as much revenues as possible. That's the short answer. But I think what it comes down to is, I mean, come on, let's be honest. You've gotten, oh God, the sporting industry and fanship has been receding for years now. Okay. It's true. Everybody's got these large screen TVs. What's the need to go out and spend some outrageous money on a ticket? And it is the existing ticket holder. You're already here. We're not trying to get you off your couch. You're already here. Why don't we have that conversation and to just kind of like say, look, no fees, just pay the upgrade fee and the difference of, face value. And that's going to be your charge. And let us worry about that. So the long story short is that, yes, we do not charge fees. That's not a part of our DNA. We're just here to give you a service and we'll worry about it on our end. Right now, we just want you to upgrade.
Excellent. You're bringing that experience no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
And you know what? It is a fan experience. I mean, like, honestly, from the time you get up off the couch, the time you get into that stadium and the sights and the smells and the sounds and your favorite athletes on the field and this is where you want to be. The last thing you need is another something to take your mind away from that experience. And you know what? We're just here to like help it along. So hopefully we can, once again, bring that fan experience back into the stadium. And then when you're there, hey, call DIBZ. Hey, even if we can't get you a seat, at least you called us and if anybody's going to give you a better seat, it's us. So that's the whole reason why we want people to call DIBZ, whether we're going to a concert here or a football game there, or I don't know, anything out there, just call DIBZ. But yes, it's all about the fan experience. And that's how we've always built our system, to please those people.
Nice. So you're really jumping into that ticket experience, the ticket of getting the experience you want, right? You're paying for an experience that you're looking for. How do you see yourselves either partnering or competing with some of the bigger players? There's SeatGeek, Ticketmaster. There's a lot going on in that ticketing space. Are you guys trying to work with them or work in trying a different way for the fan?
Yeah. Okay. So the only way I can say this is that in the end of the day, we're here for the fan. Okay. In the end of the day, it's the venue that's hurting when they don't have people in there. We don't compete in the traditional way you think a company might compete with another company. I like to say we complement. Okay. We don't care how you got there. Use all these methods. In fact, I implore you, go use these methods. But you know what? More often than not, you're going to come short when you actually find out where you're sitting and what that experience is going to be like. So when you're there, as an existing ticket holder, call DIBZ. Okay. If anything, we're going to complement their systems. Do we work with them? Do we compete with them? I like to say it's going to be a service that's not going to be exclusive to anyone, but hopefully available for everyone. And so yeah, well, we're in a lot of talks to see how that actually rolls out. But right now, it's about the fan, having the relationships with the venues, having the relationships with the ticketing service providers, the venue management, the artists, and that's how we're bringing that value. So don't worry about the competition for now. We're gonna hopefully be working with them to kind of like help the fan at the end of the day.
Most definitely. And you mentioned at the beginning, like, you're here for the fan, you're here for the least difficult process possible. The convenience is what they're going for. They're coming in, they want that seat. They don't really care what provider they're using. If they have to, download some app, if it's faster, they'll use it, which I think is why you guys are going for text, because I don't have to download an app that I'm going to use once or twice a year. I mean, maybe my case is different than others, but there are so many fans that are like, I want it now. I don't want, the email marketing headache that I'm probably going to get from this company I'm signing up for. So I totally understand that convenience is where a lot of your value lies. I think it's really cool that you're trying to build that, integrate that in. There's a lot of contrarian, I think, ideas of what you guys are building in, like the text versus app or the no service fee. And it's cool to see that it's not the typical tech startup. It's really more of the fan centric, as fans, what do we want to see in these venues? What do we want to see when we go to an event? How easy do we want it to be? So I applaud you guys for that. And I appreciate you bringing that to the market.
Yeah,
you mentioned...
And we're also sticking to our guns, so we know what the status quo is. We know what the fans are experiencing. And honestly, that's at the top of our to-do list. Fan first, everything else can be sorted out later. But we need to understand the true problems, all the pain points, and that's how we attack every one of the features that we put out there.
So we talked a little bit about COVID-19 and how it's affected Canada and the United States, and it's really taken everyone out of these venues, everyone out of the events. They haven't had the opportunity to participate like they many times want to. I'm sure there will be a flood of people going to these live events very soon once that opens back up. Do you see there being a significant shift in how that happens, or do you think we'll really just try to ramp back up to normal as quickly as possible?
Okay, so the best way I can say this is that, so I'm in talks with the industry right now, obviously. Like for instance, I'm talking with the Flyers right now, and they have, at Wells Fargo, they have a 15% capacity, right? And that's like 3,000 fans, seats that they can sell. And it's like there's a lot of unknowns as to how this is going to be back in full swing. It is. The assumption is that everything's going back to normal. The question is when. Obviously in the lower states, it's business as usual with certain sports, open air. But then, closed arenas have a completely different take on this. And then the more north you go and Canada shut down. So it's kind of like the questions. The one good thing is that the companies that have a lot to gain and a lot to lose, they're the ones that are doubling down on, bringing the fans back safely, obviously when it's safe to do so. And they're just, they have their ultimate optimism that it is coming back to pre-pandemic levels. And, to a certain extent, I'm seeing a lot of research and understanding that fans are hungry. They're being locked up too long. They want it, right? And so I think I can't talk to where and how or when it's going to come back. All I can talk to is that from what I see, and they are actively looking towards new ways to engage their fans, new ways to reach out to their fans, the new demographic. How do you retain them? This is the conversation going forward. Sports is changing. Fanship is changing. Where that ends up in the end of the day after the pandemic talks, that's going to be the conversation that, we're going to be part of. But that's front and center on all the conversations that we're in these days. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see really what comes out of all this. COVID's it's an unknown, a big unknown. No, it's never happened before. But I think it's the right thinking. When you're on, I think they're asking the right questions and coming up with the right solution. So we're hoping to be part of those conversations, and more importantly, part of the solution.
Absolutely. And you have a lot of those conversations with some of the key industries there. And this might be something that maybe you can or can't share, but do you see that these companies, these venues, these sporting events, when they're competing with, flat screen TVs and all these other venues that are able to get 20 different camera angles where you can see the action up close? Would you rather be in a 50th row seat, or would you rather be on your couch with your snacks and all? They're really trying to compete against two almost competing ideas. Do you see that experience fundamentally changing in the stadium? Will it be cheaper? Will it be augmented in some way?
The only way I can say this is that I always go, like most people, they go to a sporting event, and this is my belief. So, take it with that grain of salt. But like the way I see it is that people, there's something nostalgic about going to an event. Okay. I said it before, the sights, the smells, the sounds. When you were a little kid, your parents took you to, your first baseball game. That comes only with an experience in the stadium. What I believe is that yes, you're competing with the latest in technology, AR, VR. Some of the other companies in our cohort, some of the other startups, they're doing that. They understand this is like engagement in real life, engagement at home. But in the end of the day, it's fan engagement. Well, what I feel is that, and this is just my personal belief, and I could be biased, is that fans are still going to go. People are social animals. Fans are still going to go to the stadiums. They're still going to want to experience that. What I'm hoping is that this reality check, that is the pandemic, will change a lot of the ways that the fans are treated when they go back. And like you said, whether it's pricing, whether it's a higher level of involvement, engagement. I'm not sure what that looks like right now, but what I do know is that it's not going anywhere. There's heavy investments in getting those people out into the stadium. So they're going to double down on all these solutions that get them there and keep them there, retain them, and then just make them like priority number one when it comes to the sport. The sport's one thing, but the fans are at the top, then everything else is a trickle down. That's
very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I think especially because the marketing comes from the venue. So I think that helps you guys in the sense that the people are going to come, but then you guys at the event are going to be the ones saying, hey, do you want that much better, right? You're already here. You already want an in-person sports experience. Yeah. What can we do to help you get a better one, right? Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of the solutions that are out there, and, it could be anything. I just find that it's always, the thought is always before the fact. Like a lot of what we do is in the moment, right? It's that emotional buy. You're in the, so like, best case, here's a scenario. It's like, hey, I'm a fan of the Toronto Raptors, right? I'm going to go to a game and I'm going to spend, I don't know, $100 for a ticket because that's what I have to spend for the Raps. Now I'd love to get a $200 ticket, but that's not what I want. That's not what's in my pocketbook to spend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there. Now, all of a sudden, hey, I just had an amazing dinner. I'm here with my friends and ordering drinks. My team is up. I'm just having a great experience. Hey, there's a better seat. Would I spend a little bit more? Absolutely. I'm in the moment, right? And so this is a large part of like what I mean by the experience. The experience, it makes you spend that extra 100. Hey, it may make you spend another 500. It's all that experience, and the fact that you're even going to that venue to enjoy your team with your friends. That's really what this experience is all about. And so what we're trying to do is just bring that all back. And if there's a chance for you to have an even better experience than you're having, that's what we're here to do. Give you that better experience.
I like that. I'm excited about that. I know during this conversation, it's like, man, I could really use a live sporting event these days. Man, I think people are definitely missing that for sure.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So when you guys started, and I believe DIBZ started in 2017? 2017,
yes. Yes.
When you guys started,
we've been at it 4 years minus 1 year. That's the way I
it doesn't count.
The pandemic year, we'll just forego that, It's like the Avengers.
Yeah.
You disappear for a few years, and you come back.
Oh, yeah. Post blip.
Post blip. But being at it, I think a lot of that was, I'm going to say, research. Okay. Like we had to understand this business, and oh my God, it's a business that has so many, you have to understand so much before you can actually attack it in the right way. And so a large part of that was research. I mean, I was talking to GMs all over the place, understanding the ticketing system, which is, mind blowing. Fanship, venues, fans, attitudes. What do they want? What do they want from sellers, resellers? Like, wow, it's insane. So what you do is you take all that, and then you say, okay, well, we have this offering we feel that will work. And then you take into consideration all that, and then you build kind of like your own journey. But yes, a large percentage of the past 4 years has been research. So we could get to this point and convince the gatekeepers that, look, we now have done enough research, and here's the proof. And that's how we're going to go to market. And with your help, this is how we take it everywhere. So yes, a lot of that time was time well spent on research.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. What have you guys been doing over the past 4 years to make this explode in 2021 and 2022 and bring this to more people? Very cool. So I want to talk about the entrepreneurship journey a little bit, because I know there are a lot of people who are interested in it and who are trying to strike it out on their own. What role do you think you yourself, as well as your team's experience, compared to some of the accelerator experience that you've had, how do you think that's benefited you? And was it really a necessary piece of taking this off, or was it just more of a fan the flames?
Sure. So let me talk about the accelerator first. So NBCUniversal Comcast Sports Tech, an amazing accelerator. Think of an accelerator, whether it be that accelerator or other accelerators. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about the big ones, the YComs and the 500 startups and the Techstars and all that. And you have to think of them as a resource or like a tool, right? How do you use this tool? This tool's there if you know how to use it the right way. And so that's kind of like what Sports Tech has brought to the table. They've got your back. They've invested in your company. They're already there, but you got to like use them and your creativity to go to that next stage. Okay. And that's kind of like what we've done. We've said, look, in the end of the day, what I want out of this 12-week program, it's like money's one thing, but it is networks, it is resources, it is access to the gatekeepers. It is real backing. When you enter a conversation, it's like, by the way, Comcast has seen the vision. They've vouched for us. There's a reason for this, they've done their due diligence. Their due diligence on us, and that's. They picked us from 1,000 companies. So we're extremely blessed to be in the situation. But what I always say is that it is there as a tool to use. They give you want to, and it's not even just the network or the resources. It is the learnings. You get a lot of learnings there, and it's kind of like, it's like if you know how to use all this, you can make the most of it. My goal is, obviously everybody wants to reach the pilot. But to reach the pilot in the right way, right? It's not just like, hey, look, we're here. Let's do this. No, that's not how this world works. It's like, these are the reasons we're here. This is how we're going to attack the problem. This is how we're going to solve your problem. And this is how we're going to make sure it's, in my case, everywhere in the coming years, right? And it's like that go-to-market strategy that you kind of like building. It's because you understand what it's going to take to get there. So it's not just like, here you go. It's like, here's the reason how we're going to go. This is the go-to-market. And so we've been doing that along the way. And then, in the meantime, you're fundraising. And so here's your strategy, and you're doing, trust me, I wear too many hats, and my team's just doing crazy amounts of things. But in the end of the day, look, entrepreneurship 101 is you just got to make it work, right? Nobody's going to hand it to you. I'm sure everybody says that, but nobody's going to, what's the word? You have to be, this is the best way I can explain it. You have a wall in front of you, okay? And everybody, people will stop at that wall. They want to get to the other side, but they'll stop. It's the entrepreneur that says, do I jump over it? Do I go around it? Or do I go under it? Do I break through? And then he figures out how to do that. And that's honestly why I say the biggest thing in this world is creative problem solving. And if you can creative problem solve every single interaction that you have with these resources, the mentors, you're talking to GMs of venues, you're talking to athletes, you're talking to celebrities. If you can make it all work and know how to get to that next step, that's how you use this tool that is the accelerator to your advantage. And then that's how it becomes fruitful.
Absolutely. I really like, and I want to emphasize, right, that these tools, the accelerator, it's not just, come and join us and maybe we'll give you some money for some equity. It's so much more of a whole set of tools, a tool bag that you can take to the next level. You can say, well, this is the network I want. I'm going to go after it. And not even do they hand you those meetings, right? But they hand you the opportunity, and they give you that chance, that shot, which many opportunities can come from that. Many entrepreneurs are able to take that and obviously make millions and millions of dollars doing so, but it's really that problem solving. And I like that you mentioned that.
Yeah. And then you have to remember too, they have invested in us. So they have every incentive for us to win. Right. But it's like, you've also got to show them, it's like, you've got to show them, like, look, these are my thoughts. What do you think? Give me your expert opinion. They bring some serious, there's some amazing people in the accelerator that can help you. You hit a roadblock, ask them for advice, ask them for mentorship. They hook us up with, all kinds of amazing people. How do you, use them, use those relationships to kind of get to that next step. So that's why I say, it is a world full of resources. And if you know how to use it in the right way, you can do what you could in normal times in a year in just 1 month. That's how fast you can go.
That sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. And I know these accelerators are tough to get into, but once you're in, there's a plethora of opportunity there for you.
Yeah.
For DIBZ, what do you guys see for the next 6 months? Do you have anything exciting we should be looking out for? Any new features and fun?
Okay, so I'll give you a very general statement, but a lot of this will come to fruition without getting
the press release.
Yes. You'll have to wait for the actual press release. But so this is how we are doing things. We are obviously in talks with certain teams in the NBA, the NHL, NASCAR. Oh God, we've been reached out to by a German soccer league, Bundesliga. Like things like that. These are all talks that are ending up at one thing. At the end of the day, we need pilots, right? That's what we're actively doing. In the next 6 to 9 months, not only will we be on the other side of pilots, but working relationships with contracts with these players. And just so you know, obviously, the ambition is that we secure a team, and the mechanism, once proven, you can actually scale that up to an entire league, right? And you just times that out by the many leagues and franchises that we're entering into to do those pilots. So yes, we're talking the big game, absolutely, but that's the clear direction and the path that we are taking. So in the next 6 to 9 months, on the other side of pilots, actual pilots, live pilots. So we're hoping 6 to 9 months, by the time fans get to their stadiums, you will see the ability or have the ability to call dibs, and you will see that sign which will tell you how to do it. And yeah, so very broad strokes, that's kind of like where we're planning to be. And we might be there even faster the way some of these conversations are going. So I'm pretty excited because I cannot wait for everybody to call dibs on their next event.
Absolutely. We'll start saying that all the time, and I'm sure that'll be fun to hear.
Yes. It's culture. I mean, in the end of the day, we want, what it's like to call dibs on something, and that's exactly what this is. And you know what, if we can do it for you, let's try. And if we can't, maybe there's something else we can do for you. Right. So that's kind of like why we tell everybody, just text that number. You never know, what it could be. It could be a seat. It could be something else. Right. But I'll leave that surprise for later on. Yeah.
That does sound pretty interesting. That's the fan experience. Like if you want a better experience, call dibs. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Call dibs on your next seat. That's it.
Very, very cool. So is there somewhere that people can follow along, look for updates? I mean, obviously they'll want to see when this comes to their home team. So what should they reach out to? So
a lot of our conversations are with the franchises and leagues. So if you're in that world, please reach out. I mean, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I mean, a lot of our partnerships, pilots, updates usually go on LinkedIn only because it's more the business venues, the B2B side right now. Eventually we'll be laser focused on the B2C side. And fans can join in, obviously on Instagram as well. I think it's kind of like funny. I always say it's like, we're not in the app world, right? So you're not going to you'll see us on social. You'll definitely see us through the leagues and the venues. I mean, they have some skin in the game here too, right? So you'll probably notice us and you'll probably be using us before you even know you are. We will be there. So the only way I'd say is that be a part of this journey. I mean, like I want everybody to see like this. I believe this is going to be the future of what seat upgrades is going to look like. And when people realize how fast and easy and seamless and the stickiness factor of this thing, I believe it's going to spread like wildfire. The venues, the ticketing agents, the artists, they all have skin in the game. So every reason for them to work with us and get people closer. It works in everybody's favor here. Fans, amazing fan experience, venues, see an uptick. It's as simple as that. We're just facilitating that. So we're just trying to say, look, let us be that savior to get you from a bad seat to a good seat, give you that amazing experience, and the venue wins as well. So I'm hoping everybody starts to see this in the next 6 to 9 months, and of course beyond that as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're very excited to watch this happen, and I personally will be following along. So if anyone else wants to follow along, whether that's LinkedIn, the company page, I'll obviously leave links to all of this stuff in the description of this video. But thanks, Brennon. Really appreciate your time, and best of luck with DIBZ.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to give you an update in a little while, but we'll be in touch.